Okay, so I think I've done alright so far against the tackle players today. Taken out one of the IMs, drawn with another IM, lost to a GM, but had a reasonably good game for a while, it seems, until I played a queen retreat. If you're going to play a queen retreat, you might as well just resign. Avoid playing any queen retreats. Find any resources to stop playing passive queen retreats. I find statistically I'm losing a lot of games. As soon as I'm forced to play a move like queen d7, you know, that's bad news. So AngryShopper, it's not even Christmas. Okay, so Sicilian defense. Okay. 2249. Can I get over the 2250 mark with the Sicilian dragon? So Enter the Dragon was the first film I ever got on VHS. Back in those old days, there was VHS and Betamax, and it was quite exciting. I think Betamax had the superior technology, but less video titles. People just want to really watch films. They're not really that concerned about the internal quality of the technology. So so VHS won that war, that early war. It had a lot more titles, and Enter the Dragon was like the first film I got. Anyway, so Bishop e6, brilliant film, Bruce Lee. So Bishop e6. Do I want the ugly double pawns here? There's no c5 breaks to really rupture them even more, like you get in English openings. There's no the pawns on c2. Other than that, I might get f-file pressure, dark square strategy, part of the Sicilian, getting into f4, the dark squares. Okay, I'll justify it. Is he going to take, given that delightful double pawn thing? Structure is always battling with pressure. You know, if you lose structure, you get pressure. If you want to get pressure, you lose structure. You know, like double pawns. So he's accepted that there. So knight e5 to c4. I think the centre is also in battle with king safety. If you go for the king, you're often decentralising, but you're getting other things. You're getting pins, you're getting mating patterns, things that win the game anyway. So the centre isn't everything, of course, but it's great for your pieces generally to be in the centre. So, but here, you know, I could play queen d7. I could play bishop h3. I could go for king safety at the cost of material as well. I could play knight a5 here, rook c3 and knight e4. Knight b4, rook c3. There's no knight a2. The rook is on that FM win recently that crushed me. That was nice with knight a2. And sort of familiar pattern of rook c3 and knight a2 could come sort of handy. But here, knight a5 and rook c3 for knight e4 is also handy. So I think I might go for that one. Otherwise, there's bishop c4 here, if f5. And also, he's like weakening dark squares if he plays for f5. So remember the dark square battle in the Sicilian. So f5, you know, it looks aggressive, but central dark square control is a bit suspect. Maybe. So f5, bishop c4. Get rid of his light square bishop. Is that good? I don't really know. I'm weaker on the light squares, but is it part of a dark square campaign to weaken his for that exchange? It might be, because knight c4, I'll be attacking the dark square bishop. I'll be attacking b2. So that's a bit of a paradox. Weakening myself on one complex to try and put pressure on the other complex. By complex, I mean you know, the set of squares on a particular colour. So the dark square strategy here, after f5, bishop c4, takes, that looks like a juicy position. If I'm forcing bishop c1, it looks as almost vulnerable to knight a3, because rook c3, you know, takes rook c3, or knight b2s. But maybe just immediately there's check, king moves, knight e3. So I'll be winning that dark square bishop, getting my queen into e3, you know. But now here, you know, the central control would be good after rook c3 and knight e4, and also, you know, extending the scope of that bishop. But what if, you know, bishop d4 as he played here? So he secured that down. Okay, so can I just try and play b5, b4? If I can get to play b4, no, he's locking down my counterplay. That's good. Bishop c4 now. So let's see, bishop c4, you know, rook c4, what do I have? Do I have a cheapo rook d4 or something? I'm not really sure. I seem to have a comfortable possession of c-file pressure here at the moment. Maybe e5 is on the cards tactically. If we look at the docking computer, take bishop e5. Check doesn't do anything. No. It takes knight h4 though. That's another move which might threaten d takes, and takes bishop d4. So that could be nifty, even though I'm weakening d5. But knight h5. Say knight d5, d takes. Bishop moves somewhere. There's knight f4. So I think I'm going to go for that actually. I'm tempted to go for that here. That's a good point. You know, knight h5 here. It's a dark square strategy again at the expense of light squares a little bit. d5. But if I can get to play d takes and knight f4, I think that's going to be fun. Because then I'm on his king as well. There's also rook d4 to consider. Bishop e5. Not a sound maybe, it's just taking the knight f4. Oh, there's bishop b6 trying to win my queen. Ouch. And if queen a4 b3. So maybe rook e5, maybe this is the time. I'll play rook e5. So dark square play. Trying to use this knight on trying to get a queen and maybe to d2. So queen b6, queen d2. Knight g3 could be fun. Definitely I've given him a huge, you know, idealistic knight. Okay, but can I get into the dark squares of his king now? You know, queen h4, queen g3 looks pretty menacing. Idea, just queen g3. If knight f4, or just knight g3 here, rook f3. Okay, that's a good defensive move. What about bishop g3? Is it good? Hang on, bishop g3. Let's look at some forcing moves, docking computer stuff. Forcing moves, I can take on c4. What has he got? Can't see it. Rook c1, say. There might be bishop. No, there's no bishop f4. There's rook e8. Okay, I don't want to give him too much time positionally, but that looks alright for e4. f6 might be a problem here. So what about f5? So I'm on e4, trying to cover up f7 again with move f5. Worked in the game before. If I can get in, maybe just rook e4. I don't really want to allow rook f7, so queen e4. There's rook e3, just winning piece. But rook e4 ticks a few more boxes without losing a piece. Taking e4, there's no knight f6 at the moment. Protects c4. There's knight f6, check. Okay, he's going to win exchange again. Okay, I'll let him win the exchange. Knight f6, king f7. Take on e4, I take on e4. Knight f6, king f7. Is he looking at something else here? So he takes on e4, I take on e4, I'm the exchange down again, but he's just sacked the exchange. I was already the exchange. The rook e1's not working. What about just rook e6 then for a sec? Just to stop knight f6 so I can go back to knight e4. There's queen f4, docking computer, knight e2, check, queen f4. That's basic docking computer stuff. Stop the king going to f4. So let's just get my king up here. He's left himself with 3 seconds. Let's just win another pawn. I enjoyed that one. I don't know about you guys. That was quite enjoyable as well. A lot of tactics, a lot of positional considerations, dark square strategy, exchange sacks. Almost trapping my queen in this line. E5, big controversial move. Do I want to really massively weaken D5? I do so with such a move. But there's a big tactical problem. Bishop B6. So I can't play D takes. Bishop B6. So embarrassing. What would I do there? Queen A4? There's B3. I have to sack the exchange. I didn't really anticipate that. Knight D5 for Bishop B6. So E5 is maybe questionable. Simpler solution here is knight takes E4 on. Bishop takes G7. Don't know. Doesn't look. There's a Zwischenzug knight C5 there to consider. Queen can't protect the bishop, so maybe knight E4 is actually a very good move here. Maybe it needs to be engine checks. Knight E4, bishop G7, knight C5. If I can then play king G7, I'll be laughing. I'll be knocking out a centre pawn. So knight E4, bishop G7. What do you guys think? Knight E4 here. Is that a good move? If queen or knight takes, then bishop drops. If bishop G7, then there's knight C5. Looks good. So what I played was naughty. I lost the exchange. My queen came to try and attack. It was repulsed. F7 became vulnerable here. I had to play F5. He sacks the exchange to try and win an exchange. He didn't then win the exchange, and then he collapsed. Comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.